Hi guys, welcome back. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about other verbs that can replace the verb say or said so that we can expand our vocabulary and be more specific and also just increase and elevate the level on which we speak and write. Let's get started. The verb say means to utter words. So it just means that words are coming out of your mouth. Speech is coming out of your mouth. The problem with this word is it's very generic or it's very vague as well, which means it's very broad and general. It's not specific at all. So we're going to take a look at some of the other words that are under this umbrella word say and look at what other specific words we can use instead of this word. Under this very broad term say, there are so many other words that fall under this category, and they are more descriptive and specific. I'm going to read from left to right. Argue, describe, advise, point out, demand, complain, mention, insist, admit, and announce. We're not going to go over all of these because nobody has time for that, but we're going to go over a lot of these and look at how they compare to the verb say. Let's begin with the verb advise. Advise means to offer suggestion, counsel, or guidance, or to give advice. And let's compare these two sentences. He said that it'll be better to wait, or he advised that it'll be better to wait. Both of these sentences mean essentially the same thing, but with the verb advised, it adds on a little bit more information. Said has no additional meaning except it's just words are uttered out of your mouth. Whereas the verb advise means to offer some sort of counseling, right? So it not only adds information, but I think it also elevates your vocabulary and your speech or writing. The verb complain means to express unhappiness or unsatisfaction. The first sentence says, the employees said their hours were too long. The second sentence says, the employees complained their hours were too long. Again, we are adding a little bit more depth and information to that verb said. The verb mention means to refer briefly to. So we're not talking in depth about something, or it also means to name. But we're going to primarily focus on the first definition, to refer briefly to. So let's compare the two sentences. He said it, but he didn't talk about it for long. Or he mentioned it, but didn't talk about it for long. So by using the word mention, it already implies indirectly that it wasn't a deep conversation, right? He just said it in passing. That's kind of what mention means. So again, by using the word mention instead of the verb said, we are just adding a layer, one more layer of definition on top of the verb said. The verb admit means to confess or acknowledge. Now, there are other definitions of admit, but they aren't related to our topic, which is substitute words for say. So we're going to look at this definition for now. Let's look at the two sentences. He said he made a mistake, or he admitted he made a mistake. Again, admitted is one additional layer on top of the word said, so it's more specific. Announce means to make something known publicly. The first sentence says, they said they were engaged and surprised everyone. Or, they announced they were engaged and surprised everyone. The next word is insist, which means to be persistent and firm. Persistent means to continuously keep going, right? Let's compare the sentences. He said his idea was the better one. The second sentence says, he insisted that his idea was the better one. If you say he insisted that his idea was a better one, it already tells me that he said this more than once. If you use the verb insist, it tells me that this person is persistent and he is repeatedly saying that his idea was the better one. The verb argue means to present reasons or rationale for or against something. I think a lot of people associate the verb argue with like a verbal fight, argument, right? But it really means to just list reasons for having your opinion. So the first sentence says, he said that this was unfair. The second sentence says, he argued that this was unfair. If I hear the word argue, then it already gives me additional information, which is that he probably presented reasons or justifications or rationale for why he has that opinion. It's much more detailed than the verb said. Let's take a look at the difference between all of these sentences. Number one, the most broad word, said. He said that this was unfair. Number two, he argued that this was unfair. We just talked about the fact that the verb argue implies listing reasons. Number three, he complained that this was unfair. In this verb, he's showing unhappiness or dissatisfaction. Number four, he mentioned that this was unfair. Mention means he kind of said it in passing and we are not discussing this unfairness in depth. Number five, he announced that this was unfair. This is probably he's speaking in front of a lot of people, maybe in a group or publicly. Number six, he insisted that this was unfair, which means he continuously is bringing up this topic, right? He is persistent in bringing up this topic. So as you can see, the verb said is the most broad word. And under this verb say, we have so many different ways to say something. Let's finish today's lesson with the short exercise. Please insert the most appropriate verb from this list. And please change the verb tense if you see that it is necessary. And please pause this video for more time. Number one, the employees complained that their pay was too low. Complained. Ooh. I think you can also say argued depending on what the real situation is. Number two, even though we said no, the salesman insisted, right? He doesn't give up, insisted that we needed to buy his products. Again, you can probably say he argued as well. Number three, my high school counselor advised me to take my SAT even though it is optional. Number four, the boy finally admitted that he ate the last cookie. Number five, some people keep their pregnancy a secret while other people announce it to their friends and family. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.